skills, $1 million sales skills, going to rock the live here today with you guys. I hope you're doing well. Thanks for spending a few minutes with me, getting better together, because when we get better, things get better. And selling, I think, is probably the most important skill you'll ever learn in your life. And every interaction between people, between entities, there's always a sale being made. Somebody is always buying and somebody is always selling. We're communicating and we're vying for our ideas. We're vying for attention. We're vying for relationships. We're vying for income. We're vying for all sorts of things. And everything is a sale. And your ability to help people say yes to you, to your idea, to your product, to your service, to you, to your dream, that is going to directly impact and determine the quality of your life. Your ability to sell, your ability to persuade, your ability to secure the things that you want and to help other people get what they want is absolutely paramount today. Your ability to sell is probably the most valuable ability that you will develop. I was just spending a little bit of time with John Maxwell. I was sitting next to a really nice young lady who was in the consulting world, and her business just kind of got turned upside down. She actually left that business. And she was asking, well, what's the number one thing I should be learning right now? And the answer that I gave her is selling. You got to learn how to sell. You got to learn how to communicate your ideas. Then, well, why don't you just go start your own? She said, well, I don't know how to get the business. I know how to do the work. I just don't know how to get the business. And our ability to sell, our ability to help people move forward with the things that are good for them, that solve their problems, that put them into a better place. That's what selling is. All selling is helping people to do the things they want and need to do anyways, but either don't know or aren't ready yet to take action. Your ability to get people to say yes is absolutely critical. And so I want to talk to you today. I coach a lot of salespeople, and I just had a couple of conversations today, actually, with some of my one-on-one clients. And it was really, really interesting. I'm not going to name them. They're probably going to watch this. So shout out to you guys. You know who you are. But one of the things that I find is that sales is a skill like any other skill, and it's got to be nurtured or it goes away. Your ability to persuade, your ability to help people say yes, your ability to close transactions, put people in a better spot, put yourself in a better spot. It's a skill set that's got to be constantly watered. It's got to be constantly tended to. It's got to be constantly pruned and upgraded and reinforced, right? And there are two things that I think stop people from becoming really, really great salespeople before they even begin. Before they even begin, there's two areas where I find consistently that people struggle with selling. So we're going to talk about what those are. We're going to talk about why they exist. We're going to talk about what we can do to overcome them. And I think all of us, myself included, at some point have struggled with one or both of these, one or both of these. And so I'm going to just jump right in because I don't have a lot of time today. Okay, but the first sales skill that I think is harming people, that causes them to not have a lot of success, causes them to invest a lot of time with the wrong prospects. It causes a lot of burnout. It causes a lot of cynicism. It causes a lot of self-doubt. Like, man, am I really cut out for this? I don't know. And listen, if you're doing it wrong, the results you're going to get are wrong. And it's not you. It's your process. It's not you. It's your skill set. So you are not your skill sets. Your giftings and the skills that you possess and develop, those are separate and aside from who you are as a person. But a lot of people who have really big dreams, and selling is a necessity to help them reach those dreams, they really get discouraged. They have a lot of self-doubt, and they eventually leave that profession because they misinterpret those things as a lack of skills versus a personal deficiency, if that makes sense. And so the first one, and this is really obvious, okay, but is sales reluctance. The reluctance to ask people to move forward. So these are people who they do presentations, they share information, and then they just wait. And what they're really doing is they're hoping that prospect says, hey, I'd like to buy this. How do I pay for it? And can you help me sign up? That's what they're hoping happens. They're hoping that the product sells itself. Well, there is no product, you all, that sells itself. If it sold itself, they wouldn't need you, right? They wouldn't need you. They would just run a funnel, or they just run advertisement campaigns. They wouldn't need a salesperson if it sold itself. If you are in sales, I can promise you this, the product is not going to sell itself. You're going to sell it. And your ability to communicate, to understand the client's needs, to position that product or service, in a light where the client understands how it's going to serve them and how it's going to meet their needs, and then asking for the business, asking for the check, asking for the signature, asking for the card, asking for the commitment. That is where the rubber meets the road. It's exactly where most people who struggle in sales have their first challenges, is they don't want to do one of two things. They don't want to be, number one, rejected. If I don't ask, I can't be told no. And so if I don't ask, I have no risk of being rejected. I have no risk of being shut down. I have no risk of being told no. I have no risk of people thinking bad about me. And so I'm just not going to ask. I'm going to do the work, right? And so they get away with not being rejected if they don't have to ask for the transaction. And then they just take the super low hanging fruit, the people who are extremely motivated, who are ready to buy, who are going to take control of that transaction on their own. That's where they're going to get that from. The second thing it does is it helps them to feel like they're working, even though they're not really working. See, in sales, you don't get paid to present, you get paid to close. Okay. In sales, the client's need is not being met through information. It's being met through implementation. That's the only way the client is benefited. Listen, the client gets no benefit whatsoever. In fact, you put the client or the potential client in a worse position. They are now devoid of the time that you've wasted in pitching a product to them that you didn't take across the finish line. You didn't take it into the end zone. You didn't close the transaction. So the client's not any better off. Their life has not been improved. Their situation has not been solved. Their problem has not been alleviated. They're just devoid of time. The time that you took educating them about something you didn't want to help them move forward with. And so what happens is, number one, right, they totally eliminate the fear of rejection, because we're not going to get rejected. Why? Because we're not asking for anything. The second thing that happens is it gives them the illusion that they're working. I mean, so many salespeople, man, I'm working so hard, I'm just not getting any results. Well, if you're not going to ask for the close, nothing you've done until that point counts as work, right? You're not a professional visitor. If information were enough, listen, I promise you there's information about your product or service or company online for free. If they wanted information, they could get that without you. They want transaction. They want improvement. They want implementation. They want impact. They want results. They want the result of owning your product or your service. They want those benefits, right? And a lot of people dupe themselves into thinking that they're working because they're going through the motions of setting up their appointments. They're doing their presentations, but they're not asking for the business. So I feel like I'm working. I can tell the people around me I'm working. I feel good about myself that I'm putting an effort. And I simultaneously don't have to face the risk of rejection. I don't have to be told no. I don't have to feel bad. Okay. The third thing that they get is they get to avoid the feeling that they may be perceived as pushy. That is a huge, huge fear for most people. I don't want people to think I'm being pushy. I don't want people to think I'm all about the money. I don't want people. Listen. Okay, let me teach you something. People who dislike commitment will always feel like you're being pushy. Hey, where do you want to go to eat today? Stop being so pushy with me, right? Okay, so listen, I believe that it's not possible to push somebody in sales if what you're selling them is meeting a legitimate need and it's going to make a legitimate improvement in their life. Okay, you can be persuasive, you can be persistent, you can be insistent, but you can't be pushy. It's not possible to push somebody into a life they've always wanted. Could you imagine meeting somebody, you see them at the beach, they got a nice six-pack, they're looking great, and they're like, man, what happened? Well, I met this pushy salesman. He just pushed me into having a six-pack of my abs and all these things, right? He was so pushed. That's never going to happen. You're never going to hear that statement because it's not possible to push somebody into a better life. It's possible to lead them there. It's possible to pull them there. It's possible to insist on them coming. It's possible to be persistent and persuasive, but it's not possible to be pushy. So sales reluctance, the inability or the lack of will to ask people to move forward, to make a decision today. The fourth thing that they get is they get the false hope of future transactions. Man, if I don't ask them today, I'll just set up a follow-up with them. And then they feel like they've got a pipeline full of stuff out there, when in reality, it's just a pipeline full of self-deception. They didn't ask to close them then. They're not going to ask to close them now. They didn't buy now. They're not going to buy then, right? And so we meet a lot of psychological needs that comfort us as salespeople. I don't have to feel pushy. I don't have to be rejected. I feel like I'm working. I just never make any money and my client's lives never improve. So we royally miss the point. Okay, listen, if you want to make people feel better about themselves, go be a therapist. Okay, don't be in sales. And even therapists are selling. They got to sell their service, and they got to sell you on a new way of thinking, a new paradigm, a new perspective, right? So even salespeople and therapists are salespeople, right? But we got to remember what it is that we're there to do. We are there to help people move forward with the things that they want and need already, or the things that are going to make their lives better that maybe they don't know that they need yet. That's our job. And so asking for the business is the prerequisite to getting the business, asking for the sale, asking them to move forward, insisting that they take action. Closing is where the rubber meets the road. It's where all the financial benefit is, and it's where all the benefit to that client is. You're not helping them if you don't close them. Let me say it again. If your product or service is the right fit for that client, your moral obligation is to help them move forward. If you know this is going to make their life better and you don't insist on them making that improvement, what sort of friend are you? What sort of leader are you? What sort of salesperson are you? What sort of acquaintance are you? Right? We want the best things for the people around us. At least that's the best salespeople I know want. They want the best thing for everybody around us. They want to create win-win-wins. They want to create wins for their clients. They want to create wins for the companies that are creating the products or services they're selling, and they want to create wins for themselves. And a win-win-win is fantastic. And when we don't ask for the business, it's a lose, lose, lose. You lose as the salesperson, the prospect loses the opportunity for improvement, and the company loses an opportunity to gain a new client. So we got to stay away from sales reluctance. Sales reluctance. Just ask for the business. Type that in the comments if you're watching this. Ask for the business. Ask for the business. Okay, listen, the worst thing they can say is no, which, by the way, is what they already said to you if you didn't ask for the business. That's what I don't understand about sales reluctance. What you're really afraid of is failing, and that's exactly what you did when you didn't ask. The worst case scenario has now come true. They're already not your client, right? They're already not in your business. They're already not promoting your company. They're already not doing these things. So you lose nothing by asking. You have nothing but upside. The worst case scenario, you're already living, right? You're already living that scenario. Let's go and let's get some upside potential that they may say yes, So the number one challenge that I see with salespeople is sales reluctance. They don't even, it's not about overcoming objections. They don't never get to an objection. That never occurs. It never happens because they never ask for the business. That's number one. On the complete and total other side of this challenge is another challenge. So that's at the back end where we've set the appointment, we've done the presentation, we've spent the time, the effort, we've done the research, and now we're at the 1 yard line, right? We're at the 1 yard line, and we just drop a brick, right? Like that's sales reluctance. On the complete other end, okay, on the complete opposite end of this, okay, is overcommitting to connection, or over connecting, let's call it. Okay, type over connecting. These are people who have a lot of fear and insecurity about selling. They don't necessarily totally believe in their product or outcome yet, or again, they're very, very afraid of being rejected or seen as pushy. So they overdo their attempt to connect and build rapport, right? So building rapport is good, okay, especially in high ticket sales. The higher the ticket, the sale, the more rapport that you need to build, right? It's that old adage, all things being equal, people would like to do business with people they know, like, and trust. That's generally true in higher ticket sales. It's generally true in want-based selling. It's not generally true in low ticket sales and need-based selling. And so let me give you an example of this. If you have purchased something on Amazon, okay, from Amazon in the last 1 month, and you're watching this, just type me, type me in the comments, okay? Me, I've done it, okay? I bought something from Amazon in the last 1 month. Now watch this. Now, how many times has Jeff Bezos called you to warm you up, make sure to build a little rapport with you, get to know you, build a relationship, so that you would feel comfortable making that purchase on Amazon? When's the last time Jeff Bezos called you and did that? Okay, if you know the answer to that, type it in the comments. Probably never. right? He's never done that. Now, let me ask you another question. When is your next call with Jeff? To make sure that you're warmed up and that you feel good about the relationship. And I haven't seen him in a long time. I don't want him to think I'm weird. So let me reach out and talk to him for 30 minutes about who knows what. Okay. And so they're over connecting. They're over connecting, and they over connect out of a fear of being perceived as pushy or disliked, or over a fear of being rejected, right? And so like, man, maybe if I just become their best friend their bestest friend in the whole world, maybe they won't feel that way about me. Maybe I can relationship my way into getting them to just buy from me because they like me so much. Okay, listen, in capitalism, relationship is not a prerequisite to transaction. In other words, if I have a need and you can meet that need, I don't need to know you. I don't need to speak with you. I don't need to have ever met you. I don't need to know anything about you. In fact, okay, you see all this craziness going on with Teslas, right? Okay, because of Elon. So now all these people dislike Elon because he's turning off their gravy train. They're like firebombing his dealerships, right? Okay, believe it or not, in capitalism, because that's not capitalism, y'all. There's another word for that. Okay, in capitalism, you can even do business with people you don't like, and they can still meet your need and you can still meet their need. Isn't that amazing? Capitalism, the power of needs-based selling. I have a need, you have a solution, we can transact and we can both get what we want. That is such a genius system. And it takes down the barriers to transaction, and business and growth can happen very, very quickly because we're not buying based on relationship. We're buying based on need and on best fit and on the best product or the best service. And this is not to discount, say we don't want to build relationships. We don't want to build rapport. We do want to do those things, but we want to do them within reason. What does that mean? Okay, think about the last time you connected with a friend, maybe even a really good friend. Okay, somebody you've known for a long time. When is the last time? I had a guy tell me today that he spent 25 minutes on every one of his appointments getting to know the person. And I said, dear Lord Jesus, I feel so bad for that prospect, right? Because be honest, if your very best friend who knew you and had the best relationship of anybody in your life with you came to your house and talked to you for 25 minutes nonstop about you and getting to know you and trying to build that rapport, you would think that was weird. And they're your best friend. You don't mind spending a lot of time with people, getting to, right, and building that relationship. And you would think that was weird. Now imagine this is a salesperson you've never met before, or maybe you know on a periphery, right? Like a couple of minutes tops, getting to know them, getting to know what motivates them, building rapport, learning about their family, learning about some of their hopes and dreams, some of their fears and goals and disappointment. Great. 2, 3, 4 minutes. Amazing. 10 minutes, 15, 20, 30 minutes. All we're doing is we're putting off asking the girl to dance, right? That's what we're doing. We're hoping they ask us. That's what we're doing. We are trying to do work. We're trying to build camaraderie here with people to avoid having to ask for the business, to avoid having to get down to where the rubber meets the road. And so over connection, this desire to be liked and understood and for people to feel good about you, right, is just another way of deflecting some of those fears and insecurities we have as salespeople. Listen, when you know your product inside and out, when you know that prospect's problems inside and out, when you know that your product is the best fit for them, that you are the best fit for them, that they're going to be better served with you, your product, your service, your system, whatever it might be, than anywhere else. Okay, none of those other things matter. Do they have a need? Yes. Can you meet that need? Yes. Then you can do business together. Is it a bonus that they like you? Sure. Is it a bonus they feel good about you? Absolutely. Is it a bonus they feel heard and seen and cared about? Absolutely. Is it necessary? Absolutely not. It's not necessary. Now watch this. The more things we have as salespeople in our presentations and in our processes that are not necessary to our outcomes, the slower we go and the fewer people we can help. The slower we go and the fewer people we can help. Guys, listen, Your fortune is going to be made in selling and helping people to get from maybe, let me think about it, I don't know, let me talk to my spouse, to yes. And that yes is a byproduct of asking for the sale and actually getting to that point instead of beating around the bush with people for 20, 30, 40 minutes, trying to get them to like us into selling them, right? That's never going to happen. And so we don't want to be over connectors. That's on one side of the transaction, and we don't want to be sales reluctant on the other side of that transaction. We just want to be a normal human being who takes a normal level of interest in that prospect, preferably to get to understand their need and how you might fill that. And then we want to ask them if it's the right thing for them. We want to ask them to do business. We want to insist that they do business. Now, if it's not the right thing for them, we should never ask them to do business. But if it is, we should be insistent. Guys, listen, so simple, right? So simple. But that goes back to dealing with us. Until you are sold, and not before, will you be able to sell others. Your most important client is you. The biggest sale you'll ever make is you. The objection that you hold is the objection that you get, right? And so we need to, listen, one of the biggest things I do with coaching clients that are in sales, I got to tune your mind up. I got to make sure that you know that you know that you know that you have the best product for this sort of person, why it makes sense, why your competition doesn't make sense, and you can communicate that clearly and compellingly with great conviction. And when I know that you can do that, you're going to crush it. You're going to crush it, because if the need is legitimate and the solution is legitimate, that is a recipe for sales magic. All you got to do is ask for that business and make sure you don't waste 2/3 of your time beating around the bush and shooting with people, right? Okay. So listen, hey, couple things. Number one, if this was helpful to you, can you do me a favor and just smash that share button? Just share this, share it to a group, share it to some leaders, share it to some people in sales that you know that this would help. That would be amazing. Or you could just tag them in the comments, right? That would be awesome. Second thing, I have a free live webinar called the 7-Figure Onboarding Blueprint for those of you who build sales teams, 1099 teams, for those of you who onboard people into your organizations, whether it might be new staff members, whether it might be new members at your church, whether it might be a new sales leader or a new rep on your sales team. If you are building teams of people, if you are onboarding people into an organization and you need people to catch your culture and get results, this is for you. It's totally free. It's Wednesday the 26th, 8:30 p.m. Eastern time. It's totally free. It's going to be absolutely powerful. We are giving away the keys to the kingdom on the exact onboarding system that we use to stop wasting time and get more results more quickly at scale. It's going to be amazing. All you need to do, if you want to be a part of that, there's a QR code in the upper left-hand corner here. You can take a picture of that and get registered, okay? Or you can go to my Instagram bio, and the link is in the bio, or you can get on our mailing list, okay, or our text list. We're sending those out. It's going to be amazing. You need to make sure that you're on. And lastly, I have a brand new book coming out at the end of the month of April, 12 Words That Change Everything. Our words are creating our world. And so what is the world that we are creating with our mouth? The power of 12 words that will change everything. And guys, listen, if you want to be on the launch team, it's totally free to be a part of it. It is a world-class experience. It is a great crash course in creating a best-selling movement. And you're going to get early access to a lot of stuff. You're going to get great bulk discounts for those of you with big teams or book clubs. Make sure to be a part of that. All you need to do to be a part of the launch team is just comment launch team. Just comment launch team, and we will send you a link right away. It is free to be a part of it. Thank you so much for your time. I know your time is valuable. Thanks for spending a little bit of it with me, and I cannot wait to see you living out your dreams. God bless you guys. We will talk to you all soon, and peace.